Hi, Naked Author, Jason William Mitchiner Galbraith, greatest author of my generation, GAOMG. Just want to go over my title as greatest author of my generation. It means not just what I've written, but everything that I've accomplished to market my books, to promote my books, to utilize today's 21st century technology through DNA, social media, YouTube, everything to find an audience and tell my story that I'm telling on YouTube and that I'm telling through my books that I write. And this was done by a really good journalist for Gannett. He was just talking about how I first took on the literary world, that if you haven't seen American fiction, you're a writer, an author, you have to go see that. It just talks about the absurdity of the literary world. It's so subjective, and I mean, it's just a joke. And every time I walk in a Random House with a copy of my book on YouTube and I demand the president of Random House, I'm just showing the absurdity of the literary world and getting published. You know, it's like people that don't even write their own books, but they have a name for themselves on a reality show or whatever. They get book deals, but for real authors like myself, they're not even going to look at my book. So that's the whole statement, and the fight, the crusade that I'm on, and to find an audience for all of my books that I've written over 20 years. And again, using all 21st century technology to do so through my DNA that's connected all of my books that I've written about, and using the technology to even publish and distribute my books on Amazon. And this article really talked about how it talks about the print-on-demand technology has been seen by many aspiring authors as a blessing, though with certain caveats. Is that one thing, the print-on-demand publishing usually doesn't allow the same kind of wide distribution, promotion, and marketing as a Random House. And this guy, Paul Atkin at the Authors Guild, just talks about how the publishing world has gotten even more narrower. If they don't think your book's going to sell, you don't have a name, they're not going to take the risk of picking you up and publishing your book. So for this, print on demand, it's a great way for unknown authors to at least get their story out there. So everything I've done, when I talk about greatest author of my generation, I'm talking about the greatest times of difficulty create the greatest people of the times. My generation is the greatest generation of the 21st century, and I'm the greatest author of my generation. And again, it's everything that I've done, from writing my books, surfing in the WSL, ASP, with the copy of my book in there, defeating Rupert Murdoch for $1.47 million for everybody that he fired during the pandemic, like Robin Hood, and that I'm writing about in my books. It's all of those things. Overcoming cancer and fighting in the cage at almost 40 years old, knocking out my opponent, fighting radio dudes that don't understand a metaphor, that naked author means I'm naked and alone in the literary world with no literary agent, no big publisher marketing my books. I mean, I talked about this. This is me on YouTube. You can watch this from 15 years ago. And I'm talking about already, if I fail becoming the greatest author of my generation, there's no one to blame but the person in the mirror. Everything is on my shoulders. Writing my books, promoting them, finding an audience for them. I've published good reviews from people that have read my books, that really enjoyed them. And I've published stuff like people like from the media, some writers, they're like, oh, are you just a gimmick? What about your books? They should stand alone. Without distribution and marketing, nobody knows about your books, and they get lost in cyberspace and nobody will ever read them. So I've had to do everything in my power to make a name for myself, brand myself, and it's what you have to do in the 21st century. And so everything that I've accomplished, I am so proud of. And I mean, just recently running the LA Marathon with a copy of my book. When I have a heart condition, I had to have heart surgery. Knowing I'm going to have heart surgery, I still ran the LA Marathon with my 10th book that I wrote in my ancestral Galbraith kilt. And I didn't even know that I'm so Scottish. I had to do 21st century DNA, found out I'm super Scottish, And I have ancestral castles, titles, and lands on my Galbraith side, only to be told by my clan Galbraith that it's from my maternal side, so it's not good enough to get all of my ancestral castles, titles, and lands. So then I looked at my paternal side DNA, found out I'm a direct descendant of Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. Now this got a lot of people jealous that were from the University of Strathclyde, did the whole DNA. They know all of my DNA sequences, know I'm from Robert the Bruce. And one guy was trying to gaslight me, and I published all of that stuff. So on my Instagram account, some like YouTube videos and everything. But greatest author of my generation, again, it's everything that I've accomplished. Fighting with the radio dude that doesn't understand a metaphor, fighting the Random House, fighting with everybody that I have over 20 years, writing my books, finding out I'm not even a Mitchiner, that I'm a Bruce from Robert the Bruce on my paternal side. All these things that I've found out, you know, having parents that hated me for being born, that abandoned me, and growing up and using all of that negativity from my biological parents and turning it into, you know, everything that I've accomplished. It's amazing, and it's something I'm so proud of, and so proud of utilizing everything I did, my time and place, being the greatest author of my generation, having my first book come out in 2006, utilizing social media, YouTube, everything that I can. And with AI, it's sad to say, is that real authors we're a dying breed. What I did in the past, what I'm doing now, and what I will do when I finish my 10th book, bring it to Scotland, and everything that goes on with there. No other author has done this before, is doing it but me, or will ever do it again. Because the way that the literary world's going to be in the future with AI, real authors writing real books with real content, it's a dying breed. I mean, a lot of the stuff you see already on YouTube, it's AI generated documentaries with stock photos and AI just reading off whatever is on Wikipedia, the internet, or whatever it is. And what I'm going to do with my books, I'm going to do text to video using AI. It'll be all of my content, but it'll be telling you a summary of my books. And I'm sure that'll resonate with a lot more readers when they can see like war, gunfights, and love stories, and all that stuff. To visually see it, my generation and the generation to come, they're very visually reading books is really something that's becoming a lost art. So everything that I've done is the 21st century, utilizing everything that I have from my first book in 2006 to, look at this, 2007, I took to the streets promoting my first book, and it's what you have to do. You have to brand yourself, you have to make a name for yourself, finding out with 21st century technology that I'm a Galbraith on my maternal side, and I'm the Bruce, House of Bruce, descendant of Robert the Bruce, King of Scots. It's one of the most amazing journeys, and everything that I've found, everything that my biological parents denied me of, I've used all the 21st century technology to my advantage, to empower me, to have my voice told, to tell my story on YouTube. Everything that I'm putting on YouTube for the past 20 years. This dude right here, on YouTube, this guy, he's telling you the story. My story of coming of age, finding out who I am while I'm writing all my stories, and connected them over 20 years is unbelievable. It's I can't even believe it. Everything that I've done, and it's all documented. It's all written, you know, by good journalists that understand my fight. And I've had other journalists I've called, and they're jealous of me. They know they'll never write a book. They'll never be able to write trilogies. And they were like, oh, you're just a gimmick or whatever. I had writers, journalists hang up the phone on me when I was like, hey, I'm going to jump out of an airplane, or I'm going to be in New York City on this date, or whatever it is. And I'm really fighting for every real writer and author out there before we're all killed off by AI. And what I did here, too, you can watch it on YouTube, crossing the Ambrose shipping channel on my kayak. That was an amazing feat, and I almost died. And everything that I've done, my whole journey, all documented. I'm so proud of my books that I've written, and I hope that you enjoy my books, my trilogy, and my grand finale in 2026 when I go to Scotland. So I hope you buy my books and you support me, and if you don't, you suck. Cheers.